Listen!
So many people running, don't know where they're going. Panic and panic and panic, showing no sign of slowing. I need a reason and I got to know. Don't you wish your work was money? My only motive for destruction to be real. What we want, I need a reason and I got to know. Don't you wish your work was money? Don't you wish that you open doors and close them?
All right, and welcome to We Know Nothing, the video
Wait.
game podcast.
I'm just fucking with you.
I figured that was whatever. My name is Steven, the dickhead that just talked with Seth, and Matt's here as well. Matt, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Sick of work as usual, but it's okay.
Well, we've been playing, Matt. Let's get into this. Let's just hop right in. What video games have you been playing this week?
Been playing League of Legends, of course, and Borderlands. That's it.
What are you playing your Borderlands on?
My Xbox 360. Got the
Hey.
Game of the Year edition, so I have all the DLC for it. I've beaten the game through the first playthrough, and I've been doing the DLC. I got the first two done, and I'm partially through the third.
Seth, what have you been playing?
Wow, lol. And then I put it in a lot of games with the intention of playing them, but I never did. Like I put in Drake's, didn't play it. I put Launch Xenosaga, or Xenogears rather, didn't play it. So I don't really have the inspiration to play different games right now. I don't know what it is.
I've been playing a couple new games. I finally picked up Outland, which has been on the PlayStation Network, free for PlayStation Plus, and Borderlands, which is also free for PlayStation Plus, plus a WoW and LOL. Just going to touch on Outland really quick, I figured, while we're here. It feels like a glorified Flash game. It's basically you have this character, he runs around, and you can be two different colors. You have to be the opposite color of the enemy to kill them, and you can run through like bullets and stuff of the same color. And it's a platformer. I'm about a third of the way through it, and it's okay. It just feels like a glorified Flash game, like most other games.
How much is it normally?
Maybe $10 or $15.
Would it be worth it?
No, if you got PlayStation Plus, it's a fun play. I mean, if you just play it normally, though, it's not really too worth it. Matt, have you learned anything new in League of Legends this week?
I learned how to not suck as much.
Basically it.
Basically it.
Any new champions for you this week?
No, not that I bought. I got level 20, so I got my room pages now. Haven't played a game with them yet, so I don't know how well they're gonna work. Maybe
Seth?
I'll find out a little bit later.
Seth, you play any new champions?
Yeah, I actually dropped my IP on Vayne and dropped my and got some RP for Diane.
You like either of them?
Diane,
will-
no.
Diana. It is Diana. Steven keeps correcting me, but it is Diana. So now he has me saying Diane, so now I'm going to mess it up every time. I played as Diana before. I loved her. People say she's a jungler. Sometimes either solo mid, solo top, or jungle. I don't quite see that, but I think I'm going to try a few different builds. That's really what I've been doing. I've learned kind of a different way to play. I used to build for one big epic item, and then little items, and that's not really it for a carry, so that's what I learned this week.
Yeah, I just played as Darius. He's the only new person I really played as. I played a couple of games as Teemo, but, I mean, Teemo's always okay to play as. He's just kind of a decent bottom carry. But Darius in the slam dunk, build him tanky, OP.
Teemo's one of my two least favorite heroes.
Who's the other one?
He's Wukong.
What did you think
Dunk
about it?
City.
That stupid mirror image move where he could just summon a being and, oh hey, I'm just gonna slaughter you in a second. And he just gets like a free flash and disappears. Then Teemo, I just hate the poisons. AP Teemo is terrible.
Well, terrible to go against, wonderful to play as.
Yeah, when you're 40 minutes in the game and there are 40 mushrooms around, it's great.
It is great if you're placing them.
Yeah, well, not if you don't have a Teemo. And I mean, they're like wards too, so you step in one, then you get ganked. It's not fun.
Matt, who's your least favorite champion to play against in your lane?
Darius.
Well, you are Darius, so just another counter Darius you don't like.
Yeah, and typically when I play anybody else, Darius is the worst to play against.
Because they're better than
Goddamn
you.
Dunk City. That's all it is.
I know who beats you with Darius.
Oh,
The roly poly.
roly poly volley bear.
Yeah.
See, I
Yeah, I don't like him that much either. Flipping me around, get me ganked.
I mean, as much as anyone argues with me, when I play mid Morgana, she's way too paper clothy to go against Ziggs in the middle. And everyone says, oh, Ziggs is perfectly easy. Not when you have to fucking place down a whole bunch of things and you gotta try to get your skill shot when he can basically launch his skill shot over all the enemies, so you're fucked. But Ziggs is definitely a good hard counter to an AP mid. So he's been the one that's fucking me up all week. Alright, I guess we'll get away from this illegal legends talk and we'll get into a couple topics. First off is Woven. It's basically a wearable game platform that a bunch of grad students came up with. They hooked up motion controls to a smartphone and they can kind of control actions through the smartphone with just their body movements. Matt, you're kind of iffy on motion controls themselves. You're not really a big fan of them. You think you like to play them, but you don't think they can support a market. Do you think this has any sort of backbone to it? Do you think it can last?
No, just like you said, I'm not a fan of it to begin with, so you couldn't expect a positive comment out of me on this, but it's made by grad students, so I mean, it can't be that good, but I could see like a bigger developer picking it up and trying to develop it a little bit further.
Seth, any counters to that?
I think, yeah, the term he's looking for is licensing. And, as far as quality goes, grad students could have some pretty good quality stuff. They are professionals. Grad students, they could be 30-year-old grad students. You don't know who you're judging. But I do see them licensing to maybe Nintendo. I'm seeing it more being a component, maybe another piece to the Wii or another piece to the Kinect. I don't see it being standalone. It could be my one door into stepping into virtual reality, but I don't think it has that. I don't think that's where it'll go. So I don't know if that's what'll happen. But I definitely do see them licensing it to somebody, whether it's Microsoft or Nintendo. I don't think Sony's really got any interest.
See, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to have nearly as big of a ramification into video games as it is into technology as a whole. I think we're going to see this in smartphones. I think Apple and Google might pick up something like this. But gaming, it's not going to be too revolutionary. I mean, this has to be standalone separate from a controller because you're not going to swing your arms and hold a controller at the same time. So I kind of agree with you guys, but my only thing is I think other wear and technology, you can wear it throughout your day. It can track different things. It can help. I don't know. I see it being some sort of advantage, but for video games, not really. Matt, do you think this
I'm
is an advantage anywhere? Sorry.
Well, I was going to cut you off because I was going to say that I don't think it's very good. Like, Google's already developing Google Glass, or the Google Glasses, which looks pretty legit to me. I think it could be used there, if you want to talk about a platform. But again, we don't know what kind of capabilities it could have, even that could have, as far as integration and the video game market. Because as I mentioned in the previous weeks, I think we're going to see more of a whole, I don't want to say integration again, a whole climate where video games will be 24/7 or every 4 hour day, 4 hour day activity. So
You think it's going to be more of an immersion into the game?
yeah, immersion, interactive maybe, just like we see with the Facebook games. I don't know how they'll do it, but they'll find a way to make any kind of wearable paraphernalia match gamers.
Matt, do you think with such things as Google Glass and all these other things, you think this is anywhere in the market at all outside of gaming?
I didn't even think about mobile market at all or anything else outside of gaming before you brought it up, but I don't think Google would be as into it as much as Apple would. I think if any mobile market's going to pick it up, it would definitely be Apple.
My only problem with it going to Apple is Apple doesn't have a kind of base for it yet, and it almost be gimmicky. Like Google Glasses almost seems gimmicky until you see the price. That's my only concern with Apple getting it.
They'll
Just
come up
like,
with something. They'll come up with some fancy way to market it and get people to overpay for it.
I mean, they don't have people overpaying for those helicopters either. Your actual iPod or iPhone could be a controller for like a helicopter. I don't really see that sticking on either. That's a little gimmicky as well.
All right, well, I guess we'll have to move away from this really quick. Move on to digital sales for Guild Wars 2. Now, last week we reported that there were already over 1 million sales before launch. Now, at this point, Guild Wars 2 has had to suspend digital sales because they're afraid of their server stability because so many people are logging in. Seth, what are your thoughts on this?
They should have been a little more prepared. I think it's really bad for them. I know personally, I almost don't want to go into a video game store anymore to buy a game, only because it's inconvenient. Almost anything I buy, I either buy through Steam, I buy through the PlayStation Network, and occasionally I have to go out. But they're usually big games for midnight releases, whether it's Skyrim, with Modern Warfare, Final Fantasy 13, 2, any one of those things. So I think it could really impact how many people they will get, especially since this game does have a buzz behind it. I could see some people being hesitant now to get it.
See, I'm going to argue against that because I see this as good for the game. I think they're protecting server stability for their current players so they can keep playing. I think if you shove everyone into a server and people are going to have a ton of issues, not nearly are going to retain 2-3 months in. If they keep the stability of the servers nice, then they can slowly integrate more players. I think it keeps more hype around the game saying, hey, I finally got to be able to get into Guild Wars 2. So, I mean, I just heard Matt's ringtone go off, so I'm just going to throw this to him really quick, expecting him to be unprepared. Matt, what's your opinion on this before we go back to Seth?
First off, I just want to amend something I said in a previous podcast. I thought that you had to pay a subscription for Guild Wars 2, but you don't. You just buy the game and you're on. So, yeah, no subscription for Guild Wars 2. But I think that I'm gonna go with Seth here. It's bad for the game because they're trying to pull in people and it's gonna push anyone else from coming in and getting more subscribers to or like buyers of their product. Where sure you can sustain the 1 million people you have, but you just pushed away maybe another 1 million that wanted to play your game, but now they won't because you're throttling how many people can enter your new game.
I think another point to bring up is since it is free to play, if you want to look at the angle from almost like risk of, okay, are we going to lose people not buying it digitally to keep the people we have online? I think since it's not a subscription-based game, that because if you were to have people download digital copies and then they go online and servers do crash, I think you have a better chance of getting those people back since they don't have to pay a subscription to come back. They just got to wait a week, 2 weeks. I don't think it'll be a long time downtime, but I think that now's the buzz with Guild Wars, so now would be the time to buy. The next buzz for Guild Wars will probably be an expansion.
See, I think the buzz is going to last longer, and my argument to the whole free-to-play thing is that you see, with the free-to-play sales design, basically see players slowly come in over time as opposed to like a regular video game launch, a ton at the beginning. So since Guild Wars is free to play, you're more likely to see people come in a month or two ahead of time, I think, as opposed to other standard MMOs. And plus, most reviews are on like a 2 to 4 week delay because of how much you need to experience within the MMO. I think as long as they push it off for not more than 2 weeks, they'll be safe.
I wouldn't put it in the free to play market. Just because it's not subscription based doesn't mean it's free to play. Or else, trust me, I'd probably be on it. You still have to pay the initial $40 or $60, however much it is.
But compared to other MMOs, it's kind of, I don't know. Matt, you got any other points to make?
No, not really. I actually want to try out the game. I'm kind of curious how much it costs.
Well, you can't buy it online just yet, so hold out.
I'd go pick it up anyway. I like physical copies of shit.
You're a hoarder.
And
No,
a
you're
little
not.
OCD.
Yeah, you're an OCD hoarder, the best kind. At least your video games aren't arranged by the date you have purchased them anymore.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
But your movies probably still are.
No, they're still in my box from college.
Did you say
Oh.
movies?
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe it's
well,
on purpose.
yeah. Speaking of the devil, Metal Gear Solid is to be made into a live-action Hollywood movie. The producer will be the same guy who did Spider-Man and Iron Man. Spider-Man, okay. Iron Man, I see great success. I'm going to start out first. My only problem with this is that the character Snake was already stolen from an American movie, Escape from New York. So it's kind of strange to see a similar character return to theaters. I'm not quite sure how you'd get around the stealth element of Metal Gear Solid, so I'm still really iffy about this. Matt, what are your thoughts about the Metal Gear Solid movie?
I'm just kind of I'm iffy about these kind of movies in general, and I'll explain what I mean by these movies. It's that Snake ages really fast. How much time is this one movie gonna span? Is it just gonna be like one segment, like just Metal Gear Solid, like the first game, or all the games out thus far? Is it even based on the games, or is it something completely different with a whole different storyline? What is it?
Seth?
I think my issue with it is until I see a theatrical or a teaser trailer, I'm not going to buy it. You know, they're going to make a new Mortal Kombat. They're going to make a Warcraft movie. They're going to make a ton of movies. Halo movie. It was just put on hiatus too, wasn't it? I mean, until there's production and we see some footage, I'm not going to get excited either way about this. And then, to be honest, Matt's got some very good points with, when you have so many arcs it's just like a book. If you try and make a book a movie, there are so many little stories in there that you can't tell. So is your movie even going to be based on the book or video game?
See, I'm going to agree and disagree. I agree with the fact that movie studios kill things. It's not like game development. Um, yeah, I guess it's a game studio. It's not the same sort of thing. They tend to kill things, and I mean, the Uncharted movie, the Warcraft movie, Mortal Kombat. I mean, they had a Mortal Kombat miniseries, but that's because it didn't go through a movie studio.
I believe the miniseries was done by a fan too,
The
if I'm not
trailer,
mistaken.
the trailer was made by a fan, then they hired actors, and then they took it over. But you guys made another point really quick, and I forgot what it was. Seth, you actually agreed with Matt about it.
Story arc.
Oh, yeah, that's the point I want to disagree with, is that we have seen a lot of video game movies like Resident Evil that follow just a similar plot, but don't necessarily have to circle around one of the games. And that's what we would see with the Uncharted movie if it ever comes out, is that we're not going to see the same area. We're not going to see this, we're not going to essentially see the video game in a movie because that'd be boring. We already played it. We'd see like a new adventure with the same characters that we know. And in terms of Metal Gear Solid, the third one jumped backwards in time to tell a story about Snake. Why can't we just see another story with Snake?
What do you mean we don't want to see the movie in theatrical form or the world in theatrical form? Of course I want to see the world in theatrical form. I want to see the world that I knew in the video game actually with the real people in it.
But you don't want to have to sit there and watch something you already played. And my argument to you is you love Final Fantasy VII. You got to play Final Fantasy VII. You wouldn't want to see a standard Final Fantasy VII movie, you'd rather see a remake, but Advent Children was a success because you saw that world.
I don't quite get your point there. You're agreeing with me that you want to see the world.
Yes, but I'm disagreeing that they have to use the same story. Resident Evil still had Raccoon City, but it didn't follow number 2 where you go into the police department. It's a different story.
It's hard because Metal Gear Solid is a little more reality based. I mean, I see what you're talking about with Resident Evil, but I would say those weren't even close. I wouldn't say if they're the same world. I mean, you had the same city, but that wasn't until what, the second or third one?
Did you say it wasn't reality based, Metal Gear Solid, or it was?
Closer than Final Fantasy.
I mean, you had a boss in 2 where you shot bullets at it and you could bounce them off, who was essentially a vampire.
I'm not saying really reality based, but more than Final Fantasy. People like draw closer connections with Snake than they do a Final Fantasy character because they're more in tune with real life. It's
I'm
not all mythical.
I'm going to draw Matt back in here because he seems to be slacking a little today, or he just doesn't know where to hop in. So, what are your points to us that, or counterpoints to something I said or Seth said?
Just to expand off what I started saying, how long is the story gonna span? Because Snake ages super fast. So are you gonna have different character or different actors in the movie constantly replacing what Snake looks like? I mean, they'll probably do a pretty good job at putting makeup on and making him look similar, but how many actors would play one character as Snake? Or would you just make one actor look super old? I mean, that's what I was kind of getting at too when I made my first argument.
I mean, there's two things I could bring up to that. One, the curious case of Benjamin Button. Basically, did
Terrible
a
movie.
ton of CGI. Well, it was okay, but they aged him and made him younger throughout the whole movie. Point number two is that you're not going to see a Mortal Kombat movie that spans several tournaments. You're going to see it through one. Metal Gear Solid 1 is based through one game. Why would they make a movie? Think about this from the studio's point of view. The movie's a success. You can't have a sequel with Snake as an old man at the end. You have to start somewhere in the middle and come up with basically a revamp or a remake of the video games in movie form.
But what if it's bad because it only emulates the first?
Well, then we're touching on the fact of the bad part about video game movies in general is
It could
that
just be a bad movie.
exactly, and then it's just dead in the water and we don't have to worry about it at all.
I don't think we'll ever see it anyways.
Yeah, I guess we'll move on. Matt and I have been playing Borderlands. Borderlands 2 comes out September 18th, and they've already announced that it will have 4 add-on campaigns, and the Necromancer will be available a month after launch. Now, I'll hop to the person who hates DLC and hates everything pre-planned, Matthew Zawissa.
What do you want me to say? I mean, I'm gonna buy the game definitely. I'm glad it has 4 DLCs as I'm playing through the first now. They're definitely enjoyable, except for the stupid tournament one. That's retarded. Wave after wave of killing boring enemies.
But if they're going to have 4 DLCs, why don't they include them in the main game? You don't have that problem?
Well, it's not like it's developed right now on the disc and ready to go. They're gonna work on them after the game's already been released, and that I'm okay with.
Well, this one's coming out a month ahead of time. It's been discussed already. The guy that got in trouble for those comments, he was commenting on the class that's available in the next DLC. So obviously it's already in production. Why not just wait for her to be available in the game? I mean, these are the points that you made weeks before that you somehow disagree with now.
Well, isn't the Necromancer too? Isn't it? You don't have to buy her. You can get it free if you pre-order it from one of their approved places or whatever.
I don't even know.
I believe so. Just make sure you pre-order the game so you can get it for free.
Well, that won't be covered by the season pass, it says. So it's not being counted as one of the 4 pieces of DLC. So I guess we don't need to make that argument, as I just read that. Seth, what are your thoughts on the 4 add-on campaigns already announced for Borderlands 2?
I think the bigger mistake is Borderlands 2 could suck. There's a strong potential that by saying, hey, there's going to be X amount of this in the future, that now you have high fan expectation, and what if it won't be worth their time in the end? Weren't there going to be 6 Xenosaga games? And
Yeah.
then they bumped it back to 3?
But the difference is that, and I'm going to disagree with you here, the difference is they can shorten the story at that point. That's like saying there's going to be 5 Borderland games. DLC is in the same game, it's just added on as side content. And I think this is a great thing for them to do, specifically to announce it, because it keeps people holding on to their copies of the game, so they buy the next DLC. If I bought it, I won't want to sell it. Maybe I won't buy it till it's cheap and all 4 DLCs are out, and then they still make more money off of me. I think they're giving the consumer a great advantage by letting us know ahead of time 4 major DLCs plus the Necromancer. I mean, there's not real. I don't see many down points to it, really. I mean, if it
How
sucks
many
as a
people
game,
will? Sorry.
I was going to say, if it sucks as a game, at that point, they would have already been in development anyway. They're just letting us know, hey, this isn't all we have.
Will the average fan hold on to that copy forever until all 4 DLCs are released a year and a half from now, maybe?
If they know that there's DLCs coming out, yes, they'll hold on to it. I mean,
I
you
don't
see
think
that
so.
with Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto. Rockstar does a great job with that. They still have people playing it with the bonus XP because they smartly released their DLCs. And I think that they're just 2K Games is just trying to come up with that advantage by letting us know now, hey, look, we got these 4 coming out. It's going to be extra content, and you're going to be excited for it.
I think the difference is that they're announcing it now. If Red Dead tanked, we wouldn't have seen so many add-ons or, downloadable content. I think if Red Dead tanked, they would have just scrapped everything. But now there's an expectation from the fans that they will get 4 DLCs. Whether it's good or bad, somebody's going to QQ saying it's good and want all their DLCs.
I mean, we discussed an argument of day 1 DLC the other week, and I guess I'm kind of seeing it the guy's way now. Every time DLC is released, game sales go up. So even if it does tank, with each DLC, it'll be more people rather buying or rebuying the game. I think it makes it so the game cannot physically be a complete failure with already the fan base it has. Matt, we're going to just argue back and forth, and once again I'm pulling you in, because you never know when to jump in. Have we changed your opinion at all, or are you just going to sit there and go on top of your own point, and then we're going to have to move on?
Why do you put it like that? You make me sound like a big lame-o.
Because you've done that already twice. You've gone, I'm just going to expand on my current point and say, argue a little bit, debate.
I don't like argument, you know that.
DLC, good or bad?
How, how, how about I bring up a different point?
Oh, go for it.
That's what I did.
That's shocking.
The season pass idea, do you guys like it or dislike it, where the individual, okay, there's going to be 4 DLCs, $10 a piece, or you can buy the season pass right now. You get all of them for $30 instead of 40.
Do you get a guarantee on the season pass that it's for all 4, or do you get a guarantee it's for a year or 2 years?
You get a guarantee on all upcoming DLC that you get it.
Okay, because I agree with that idea, but Modern Warfare came out with the Elite package, which is all downloadable content for a year. All they have to do is release content a year and 2 months late, hold on to content, in which case I disagree with that. But if it's for all upcoming content, I can agree with it.
I personally would never use it. I like to pick and choose my DLC. Even in Final Fantasy 13 too, I didn't get all the DLC. Some of it I saw as useless, so I wouldn't get it personally. But I think, in general, it's great. If you know you're going to love the game, or say I buy the game and I want to get the season pass because I like it so much, I can save myself $10 and I'm guaranteed the DLC I would have already wanted.
It also gives the developers a chance on the dark side to not release great DLC. They already got their money.
You stole
Why
my
make it good?
You stole my next point that I was going to push it towards.
Yeah.
But not everybody
it's-
buys the season pass. That's the argument you have to see. This DLC sucks. Say a quarter of the people buy the season pass, which I don't think it'd be much higher than that. Then you're missing out on easily another 25% people not buying it, like they're not buying Hearthfire for Skyrim, because it just isn't substantial enough, and then they'll lose money that way.
You're contradicting yourself.
How?
What if they release terrible DLC for the game that's already out? Will people go then and buy the game just for the DLC?
No, but you bring up just having new DLC and having it tank is different than just having good DLC. I mean, there's 2 separate points there.
Well, do you guys see yourself? All right, Steve, since you're probably buying the game, do you see yourself getting? I guess you already answered that.
No,
Never mind.
well,
I'm just gonna
ask,
say,
ask me.
are you gonna buy the season pass?
No, I'm not going to buy the season pass, and I'm probably not going to buy the game at launch. I'm probably going to wait till it's a little cheaper and 1 or 2 DLCs in. And they'll have me hooked for the rest of the DLCs, because I'll keep my game for the rest of the game cycle.
That's a system I agree with. Fallout does it greatly. A lot of not real-time strategies, like Civilization turn-based strategies will do it, where they'll wait till they have 3 DLCs, then release Game of the Year edition and have all your DLCs for one cheap price. I agree with that model.
And that's something they can do once it's out. But right now, say they don't have a Game of the Year edition, say it does tank, they know 4 DLCs are coming out. I'll still buy it after the 4th DLC. I'll probably still get it for $30 because some of the DLC will go on sale, and then they still make money off of me.
But will it be worth it for, I don't know who makes the game.
2K games and
2K
Gearbox.
games.
Gearbox.
Yeah.
Will it be worth it for them financially?
You know, that's like saying we're making a movie. Is it going to make money? You never know. It depends on the game. But this has got enough of a following where I think it won't matter in the end.
Just because 2 out of 3 follow it here doesn't mean it's got a giant following.
No, that's the whole. Their plan wasn't to make a second game. And I don't think they really had many DLCs lined up. But then they released 3, and once 1 became a hit, they picked up number 2. It's like Dragon's Dogma. That was going to be a one-off game. It sold really well in Japan, and it sold pretty well over here. They added an easy mode for more people to play the game, and they're coming up with a sequel when they weren't going to have one.
I think everyone's looking to have a sequel. Everyone wants to make a franchise.
But this was 3-4 years ago almost.
And and how long has this been in development? 2 years?
Who knows? I think they developed their DLC for another year, year and a half, so it could have been 2.5 years.
Yeah, so they knew they were going to make it.
No, not until after the DLC.
They probably had it. They probably had something working. They had some aspect of it ready. I would be surprised if nobody has it ready. So
Well,
I don't know.
I'm gonna buy.
Let's
the
just
game
agree that you guys are
at
wrong and
launch.
move on.
I'm gonna buy the game at launch and probably end up buying the season pass as well.
Yeah, I was going to let Matt finish talking before Seth rudely interrupted. But we'll finish that. Speaking of buying used games, see, my terrible segues week by week, they still make it.
They get worse and worse.
Oh, trust me, by the end of this it's going to be, did you say tacos? Speaking of tacos, GameStop is planning to sell vintage games. Now, it's going to be online sales catalog, and it looks like it's going to be more of an eBay, where they're just kind of the middleman, than it is in terms of an actual sale. But it's for classic NES and SNES games, regular Xbox, Sega. Seth, you love vintage games. You might not have the consoles anymore, or you might have some of them. What's your thought on this?
Do you know what the word for vintage is that they're trying to get? It's used. They're going to sell a lot of their back used games because they still have people going in and returning games for $1 because, hell, I don't play a PlayStation 1 game anymore. I think it's just them repackaging their used content and allowing people to not return it with them but to eBay it instead.
What about going further back from PlayStation? They don't take Super Nintendo games anymore, and now they're taking them back.
That's just to compete with people like Game Craze, which I know is big up here. I don't know where else there is a Game Craze, but it's just to compete, and I think it's just to add on the arsenal. I really think the core of it is behind their old, they probably have warehouses of used games somewhere. You know how many times I walk into a GameStop and just see those cartons out front?
You mean the Steal Me cartons, where they basically just beg for people to steal them?
That's what they're doing. So why not make $3 on each transaction online and just call it vintage instead of used?
Matt?
Good marketing on their part. I'm agreeing with Seth here. Switching a couple words around, basically making money where they normally wouldn't. I think they're going to take a lot of their old stock and package it up in brand new plastic and try to make a buck.
See, I see it as a positive, and we're not going to spend too much time on it because no one's really calling out the negatives. But my positive is, rumors so far is that the new Xbox and the new PlayStation, or at least the new Xbox, will not run used games. And at this point, that's where the bulk of GameStop's profit is, used games. They make more money on a used game than they do selling a new game. And basically when they price drop new games, it's just to get their money back. So I think this is their way of trying to start a new market, which you guys said, but the reasoning I believe it is for the next gen consoles. They're not going to make a ton of money, and they're not going to be able to sell as many used games. Anyone have a negative point about that? Anyone have something why this might not work out?
I just don't think I think there are so many old games at this. Like there are a lot of that midline, late '90s, early thousands. End PS1, beginning PS2 games that really just aren't going to be worth anything. And I think the only way to get rid of them is just to burn them.
Burn them.
Or give them away to third world countries. That'd be great. They had no electricity to play them on, but
Burn them with fire!
pretty much.
Well,
Try and burn a CD.
I think what it's going to do is going to increase the value of these old games, and they'll just be making money on top of money. I mean, my girlfriend just recently found her old Super Nintendo, and I was always looking for old games, and I mean, $10, $15, $20 for a Super Nintendo game is a lot, actually, in the new market, because I can spend $20 on the new game. So
Or
I
just
think,
get an emulator. Sorry, I thought you were done.
well, the legality of an emulator is that you must own a physical copy of the game, or you have to delete the file within 24 hours. We do not condone emulation whatsoever.
24 hours, I do.
Basically. But right now on Amazon, you're seeing Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for about $20. That might go up to $25, $30 if there's a new market for it, if it's available more mainstream. The only problem I see with this is that Amazon already does have these games, so who's going to want to go to GameStop for it?
And my issue is that that's only 1% of probably what's out there. Less than 1% are those, Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers classics.
Well,
What about Uniracers, Steven? What about Uniracers?
if it's still in the box, it's worth a lot of money. You want to know how much someone's trying to sell one new Legend of Zelda?
That's not Uniracers.
Cheapest is $150, most expensive is $900. Matt, you have any arguments with this while I do a little more research?
Arguments?
Research. You know what that means? He's going to go eBay Uniracers and see
No,
how much
no.
to sell them for.
That's what I did with Legend of Zelda when you guys were talking. That's why it petered out a little bit, because I was still trying to, I muted my mic so you wouldn't hear me typing.
I did
sound all
see-
classy.
A old copy of Final Fantasy III go for a couple $1,000. I only caught I was reading about the Lightning Saga, and at the end I saw in the side that an old copy or a lost copy of Final Fantasy 2 or 3 sold for like $3,000 or $4,000. So I get that there's a market for those classics. I think if you have an unopened, I think it's just like a Detectives #1, which isn't even the one you want to go for, but was it 37 maybe? Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know, this first appearance of Batman.
Yeah.
But
Action
Uniracers,
Comics. That's
cheapest is $7.56. It only gets more expensive from there, so I think that's only going to increase the cost, at least in the short term. In the long term, I see them doing away with it again, but in the short term, I think they're pretty much covering their bases.
Look up Metal Marine, see if you could even find it.
Okay, I'm not going to spend too much longer on this. I'll look it up as we talk about our next topic. So, Capcom has recently had a couple issues with Resident Evil 6. Apparently, there were a couple copies for sale in Poland last week, and now Capcom is claiming that they were stolen, quote unquote. I mean, I did it with my fingers, but nobody could see it, so I had to say that. My personal thought is perhaps they were stolen, perhaps it was an employee that got an early copy, but who's to say it wasn't just to get the game out a little earlier? And I mean, we've been awfully suspicious on here about leaks and all the other information. And I'll throw it to Matt. Do you think these copies were stolen? Do you believe Capcom? Do you think it was just an accidental leak or done on purpose?
I definitely don't think it was done on purpose, because you don't see that kind of thing happening very often, if at all. I think it's definitely either stolen or maybe an angry employee for whatever reason wants to get revenge, and this is his way or her way of doing it.
I'll touch back really quick, Seth. The cheapest used copy of Metal Marines on Amazon is $45. So maybe the more obscure ones people don't own, and they might be more expensive. Yeah, I mean, I don't. It could have been intentional by Capcom, and my only reason for thinking that is that based on comments of the demo where they complained it didn't feel like Resident Evil, and Capcom said, "We're listening to you. We're listening to your opinions on the demo, and we're going to try to change some things." Because it basically became more like a third-person shooter, the kind of direction they were going with 5, but it got worse. And a lot of people were complaining. That's the only reason I think it could have possibly been a leak. Seth?
I do not think it was leaked. I think we see it happen small scale a lot more. Everyone's heard of somebody who's got a game before release. They got to play a little early. I just think that, Poland got lucky and it doesn't need to happen all the time. It just needs to happen once.
I guess I can see the point, but I'm not too sure. I guess I'm just a little iffy. There's not too much time to spend on that. Now, I've given no chance for Matt to prepare this next introduction. Next couple topics are going to be about Valve, the game company. Matt, make a sounder for our Valve games talk.
Valve, what a sound? Put me on the spot like this?
Yes, exactly.
I got it.
Give you
I already
no
got it.
inkling. Well, if Matt can't come up with one, I'll throw it to you. But Matt, Valve games.
Wow.
You stole last week's idea
Yeah.
of adding lasers.
Seth?
You gotta have a creaky door go creak. Come on in the valve.
Wow.
Like you're opening a valve door.
I got douche
Oh.
chills. That was terrible.
Oh yeah, and like you could have come up better on the spot.
Well, I was actually gonna, speaking of last week, Valve games. Final Fantasy VII, enemy death noise. Alright, I guess the most exciting thing that they've announced is that Valve has confirmed they're developing hardware. They say the quote is there's been frustration by the lack of innovation in the computer hardware space, and we're jumping in. There were rumors of them coming up with a quote unquote Valve box. It was going to be an extension of Steam, and it sees is more of a truth behind it. Seth, you're more of a Valve guy. What's your thoughts on them getting into hardware?
I don't like it. I think they're wrong. Have they not seen the new Razer laptop? Hardware's dying. I mean, I don't think they belong in this market. I think they should make a new engine for their games. I think they should stick to software and help in basically being Steam heavy. I think they could only lose money by going into hardware unless they're in it for the 10-year, 20-year run.
Well, I'm going to argue a point you just made, and we'll touch on the new Razer Blade, which is complete horse shit, if you ask me.
It's $300 cheaper. It's got a better cooler. It's just as thin and it's a little lighter.
Yeah, but where's the innovation? Where's something new? That's Valve's complaint. There's been no innovation. Nothing new has been happening. We're getting faster and stronger machines, sure, but we're not getting anything new in terms of content with their systems.
What's Valve going to do about it?
Valve came up with Portal.
That's software. I'm absolutely down with them doing something software-based.
Well, what's the Oh my god. The whole thought is innovation, not software versus hardware. Matt, come on, hop in somewhere.
You know what? I kind of like the idea because when we were just talking about last night, we were talking about Steam a little bit, and I said I don't like Steam because I actually want to play my games physically. And what happens, I mean, yeah, I know you can play games offline, but it seems like every time I boot up Steam, I have to download so many freaking updates before I can even play the game.
Well, that's because you open it once every 3 months.
Boo-hoo. The point is, if they make like a Steam box console where you can play all of your Steam games not connected to the internet, that might be something I might move more towards Steam rather than an Xbox or PS3 games. Maybe I'll stop buying new consoles altogether and just play on my PC.
You mean a box that plays video games? That's innovative.
No, and that's my point, is that that's what was rumored to have started before, but they've been saying that something new's been coming out. A new innovation, something unique. And I think innovations is what pushes the industry. You're
I
seeing
think
the
it's
death
just
of AAA games, and you're seeing more of these independent, kind of innovative games taking over the market. And why should they have fault in going to innovation to hardware as opposed to software? I mean, look at this. We hate the Wii in general, but we came up with the motion controls, and Xbox and PlayStation both stole it. Innovation is where it's at. Sure, it might not always succeed, but it's somewhere in the market, and it's going to keep propelling things.
innovation's just a buzzword, and AAA games are far from dead. Far.
Ubisoft has said that Assassin's Creed 3 is one of their last few AAA games with a large development team. They're hoping to go to shorter development time and smaller scale games.
Look, because a developer wants to go that route doesn't mean the industry's dead.
All
What
right,
about Naughty Dog?
someone's in denial. They've got
What
a new
about Naughty
game.
Dog?
They separated to smaller teams to do 2 games a year instead of one, basically. The Last of
Two
Us.
two AAA games, Uncharted games.
Who says the next Uncharted game is going to be the same way? We don't know. Sure, every other November we're going to get a giant game, but that's
Every
not going
November.
to sustain the market.
But it's far from being dead. I mean, every year every November, the record gets broken. It won't get broken this year, only because it's got competition. But the single game sales just are shattered. Every first Tuesday in November, election day, Modern Warfare whoops it every year. Um, I don't
Okay,
know.
but that's for 2 or 3 developers.
What about Madden?
What about Madden? Madden blows. It's the same thing
It's
every
a
goddamn year.
It's a AAA game, and it sells more copies than you could believe.
I'd
And you
call
want
it
to know
more
what?
of an A or double A game because it comes out every year. It's only got a year cycle. I wouldn't call it nearly as long of a
I'm
game.
I'm not rating it on cycle. I'm rating sales.
That's
I'm
not
rating.
what distinguishes AAA to other types of games. AAA games are large development teams with a long cycle to make one giant game. Madden's not that way.
Plus, the Madden development's constant. That's one thing I do like about the Madden development is that you don't have to wait 10 years for something to happen.
Yeah, but you don't get anything new and innovative between each game. Like, I really have seen no difference in Madden from like 10 on. 10, 11, 12, 13 all look the same to me.
Look the same. Have you ever played them?
No, because I don't care to.
Ah. And also, have you ever played the NCAA games compared to the Madden games? Because now they're pretty much separate games.
I would agree with NCAA getting a lot more innovative and unique than Madden. And I guess that's my argument is innovation's the key. Succeeds, fails, something new should hit the industry every once in a while. And all the power to them.
No.
All right.
Valve should not get in hardware. That's it. Somebody else could do it. Sony could do it, not Valve.
All right, that's the last word. Chell of Portal 2 almost married a turret. Now, the whole thing was that you were at one point going to come across a lost tribe of turrets on something like a forgotten island or so. You'd help the turrets get away, and a giant animal turret king that you see in Portal 2 would have had one of its turrets marry you. This was taken out of the game, and I think for the better, because I'd much rather have Potato GLaDOS, or Potatoes, I guess is her name, versus a turret married. And I guess in terms of story, we see these things happen all the time. Matt, you played Portal 2, correct? You played it through your PC?
Yep, sure did.
What's your thoughts on Chell marrying a turret or not marrying a turret?
I think it was got rid of for the better. I want cake. I don't know, I just thought of cake when you said Portal.
Fat kid. All right, Seth?
I think you got trolled. Do you really believe the lost tribe of turrets?
Yes.
I think they took the fact that they had one turret speaking gibberish talking about talking about GLaDOS, and the fact that they included like a background image of this giant king turret and they just trolled everybody because they had nothing better to do at a press conference. They announced a lot of weird things at that press
So
conference.
why is no? I think that the writers of Portal are so unique and so immersed in the game that they're like, what if Chell marries a turret?
Are they unique and innovative?
Yes, we are talking about Valve here, aren't we? I mean, they wrote the story around the game instead of just making the game around the story. It's a completely unique way to take it, and I don't see why this would be fake.
But where? Okay, if they built the story around the game, where does that storyline fit in the game?
That's the whole that's the point. A lot of things were taken out. If you listen to the development tracks, the developer tracks throughout Portal, you realize a lot of things were taken out. And this is just something new that's been said. I mean, the one guy said in Portal 1, he wished the human stick figures had square heads to aid the joke that there were military androids being tested in the chambers. That's something small and quirky. It wasn't put in there, but it's just something he thought of. Now, a whole team coming up with this animal turret king is crazy enough to begin with, so why not? Why is it so crazy that it would have had the turret marry Chell?
I just think they're trolling. That's really all I think.
Matt, you think this is a troll?
They're young, funny guys.
I don't think it's true. No.
You just think that they're just crazy?
Yeah, I just think they're so out there, and they think of stuff that no one else would. Hence, innovative and unique.
All right, well, there's nothing really innovative and unique about our next topic, but really quick, I asked you guys to see if you could think of anything that was taken out of other video games that were for the better or worse. And was there anything you can come up with, Matt?
I couldn't think of anything. I'm not very creative. I should have
Seth?
researched.
The Final Fantasy series has a lot of these things, minor things that were taken away not from the game period, but from Japan to America. 7 specifically had a reference to a lot of sex between Cloud and Tifa that got taken out, which was when it's just you and Tifa. I believe it's beginning of disc 3 or the end of disc 2. It's right in that cinematic area between the two of those two are going to spend their final days just together. And there was a lot of sex talk. But, I mean, the only other Final Fantasy reference I wanted to bring in would have been Final Fantasy 4, 2 in America, that came over with decreased difficulty, and they combined all the items and stuff. I think as far as story and difficulty, we lose a lot as being Americans.
But nothing really quirky.
Nothing quirky, no. I mean, I couldn't think of anything else quirkier. Just the sex in Final Fantasy VII was pretty much it.
Is there anything weird in a game you wish they would have taken out
No.
off the top of your head?
I don't know.
Matt,
Mass Effect 3? Anything?
the whole thing.
Lol. That just when Seth was talking about Final Fantasy, it reminded me of Xenosaga and how what's his face there, Albedo, when he was doing the thing to Momo. In the Japanese version, it's like he stuck his hand inside her gut, and it almost looked like, he was fisting her for
Finger popping
lack
each
of
other's
better
ass
word.
hoes. 21 Jump Street. Yes.
Xenosaga took a lot of cinematics out in the American one.
Yeah, I mean, just looking like taking the same theme of going from a Japanese version of the game to an American version of the game, they changed so many things. And like I remember what made it even worse in the Japanese version is as she was
moaning
being
in pain.
as she was being fisted, she was moaning in pain.
Oh yeah.
All right, some
But not-
14-year-old android Seth.
Androids, they're not people. It's legal.
Oh wait,
Oh,
no, they're oh Matt, you gotta think of it before I can.
What?
Or what were they called? Realians?
Oh.
Shit, I can't remember the name. I'll have to look it up after. It's gonna bother me.
Hey, if you guys know, email us at knownothingpc@gmail.com or hit us up at facebook.com/we-know-nothing or know-nothing-pc.
You
as well as
fuck it
twitter.com
up every
/know-nothing-pc. Hey, but you missed the plug at the beginning.
I don't throw the plug in at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
I throw it in at the end.
Well, Maybe we'll have a special award for those who might email us with the proper answer.
Anyone email us and
Can I
you'll get
win?
something. No. All right, moving on. We're just gonna we've descended
Because
into
I'm on
the
Google
T's,
right
man.
now.
Every time this happens, we just start talking bullshit and we descend, and it's hard to pick it back up from that point. So I'm gonna try to move on. Black Mesa, the Half-Life remake, is being released in just about a week and a half. Seth, you're a big Half-Life fan. What are your thoughts?
I'm pissed.
Why?
How are they not developing Half-Life 2 Episode 3 yet? Why isn't that the big announcement? I'm pissed that the big announcement is not that. We were left on a cliffhanger with Gordon Freeman almost dead, killing a main character, kidnapping another character, and they haven't given us that conclusion, but they'll remake the first Half-Life.
Spoiler alert. By the way, it's not the full thing that's being released, just so you know. It's up to the Lambda core.
It's only part of it, so they could sell it twice.
They've remade it on the new engine.
Yeah, just an HD remake.
It's not
I
a
think
remake, it's a whole new engine remake.
it's just gonna look better.
Ugh, it's not based around looks, Matt.
You know, this is not. It's on topic, off topic. In the Counter-Strike Global Offensive, like cinematic that they made, someone I remember when I watched the video, I was reading the comments, and someone pointed out like at this time you see the Half-Life symbol, and at this time the only number that's pressed or shown on the monitor is 3. Therefore, Valve is making Half-Life 2 Episode 3
What does that have
What?
to do with anything?
because he was talking about Half-Life.
Oh my god. Matt, okay. New engine remake of Half-Life, the first one. What are your thoughts?
I've actually never played any of the Half-Life games, so
So would you play the first one again? Or would you ever start the first one with the remake?
perhaps I might do the remake depending on how much it is. If it's something cheap like 10, $15, I might get it, but
Would you rather, and I'm going to make my point through you, would you rather buy the first game that came out 10 years ago, or would you rather buy the remake in order to catch yourself up to Half-Life
I'd ra-
Episode 2?
I would rather buy the remake.
And that's my argument. Seth?
But why have we not seen? I mean, I just think that they're going in the wrong direction. I think I'm not the only Half-Life fan that's angry about this. I think why rehash old material when you could give us new? When you left the story wide open.
Well, it's just called. They're just trying to get more push behind it. I mean, Valve isn't known for making their games quickly.
Push to unfinished saga.
I guess we'll just leave it at that. Seth, what's our Final Fantasy VII sounder or Final Fantasy sounder?
It's gonna have lightning noises. Can I tell you that? Lightning and thunder.
Yours.
Lightning strikes.
It's not what's. Oh my god. Matt, do you have a just Final Fantasy in general? I know this is killing the pacing and this is killing everything, but I need to do this. I meant Final Fantasy in general. Matt, what's your Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy sounder? I keep saying 7.
No, you can't pick that. It's gotta be the Chiboko theme. Boop 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 boop.
But you're supposed to throw in like Final Fantasy, like dramatically in the middle of it, just so we know what the fuck we're talking about. Instead of just
Final Fantasy is an RPG. It's an old Flash video.
yeah, I know. Lightning returns in the new Final Fantasy game, which is luckily the last Final Fantasy 13 game with lightning in it, which kind of scares me a little bit. They didn't say with Sarah or anyone else, but it's more of an basically the world ends in 13 days in game. And what recently came out is that can adjust to more or less days depending on what actions you take, and that each in-game day takes between 1 to 2 hours in real life. It's kind of a unique way for an RPG, and they say even though there's one ending, they think it'll give higher replay value. I'll go to the disgruntled Final Fantasy 13-3 person, Matt. What's your thoughts on Lightning Returns?
I think it's so far off of a typical RPG that I play that I don't know if I'm gonna like it at all. I don't know if I'll even buy it. I'm definitely not going to buy it on release. Uh, I'll probably wait until the game has already been out for a while, has a lot of reviews, a lot of videos that I can watch and actually see if it will be any good before I even think about buying it.
Seth?
I think what's going to kill people like Matt more is the fact that you cannot run around the map and get 100% of the map immediately because you don't have the time. I think it's an interesting angle. What's going to be the frustrating part is I'm not going to want to beat it, let alone if I hear horror stories of people getting to the final boss with 3 minutes left and can't beat it. That's
Well,
kind of my worry.
the whole
Or
thing
the final
is
dungeon, 3 minutes.
they're saying this game could be an under 10-hour game. They're saying it's definitely not going to be more than 20, or definitely not more than 15. So it's going to be a shorter game that you're supposed to take multiple plays at and do different ways to try to beat the end of days era. I
So
mean,
I'm supposed to play through it 5 times in order to beat it?
not in order to beat it, but to see if you can beat it quicker. I think it's going to be an easy enough game where if you go the direction they point you, you can beat it within 12 days. I've got no doubt that they're going to make something like that.
I have no doubt that I could beat it with that time.
Well, then what's your
Well,
problem with this?
Well, I don't like to rush to beat my games. I don't. I like to leave them on, sitting down with the controller, go get a cheese sandwich, come back and fucking rock it out. I want to spend all night just grinding.
Well, I think what's going to happen is that the game's about 30% completed right now. They're going to add a second ending, and they're going to add something special. I mean, I'm glad that we get almost a world map. We're split between 4 islands in the game. You basically take like a monorail between the different islands, which takes actual in-game time. In that it's just giant environments you roam around to make your way through the game. I mean, I see this as unique enough, and like I said, I guess I'm the optimist of all of us. Unique enough to where people won't be disappointed like they were at 13.2, but it being just basically the same game but through time. Matt, I mean, you didn't like 13.2, did you? I mean, besides To Be Continued, which was finished in the DLC, you didn't really like the game.
Yeah, it was alright. I like the story the best. That's why I play RPGs is for the story.
Well,
I didn't like the way it was played and how they decided to portray like how to get around the world with the timeline and everything and not having a big open world. But I enjoyed the story,
well,
minus to be continued.
this has a big open world, and the game plays differently. It plays more with like a world map. And RPGs have always basically focused on the end of days, so why not? Why can't they be the first ones to say the end of days is at this point? Be
Because then
warned.
you're putting a time limit on it, and I don't like that.
All right, I
Why do I
guess.
have to rush? Why do I have to rush to finish the game? Like I guess exactly what Seth was saying. Why do I have to sit here, rush through the whole entire game, possibly miss something?
Oh,
I
I
guess
knew that against you.
okay. I understand now. You don't gotta say more when you said possibly miss something. But then you could play through the game a second time and have a
I don't want
whole
to
new
play.
way of beating it. That way you
No,
could fight different bosses, you can progress through different storylines to try to reach the 13 days.
that doesn't appeal to me at all. I can't remember the last time I played a game through twice. Like when I found out that Borderlands I had to do a playthrough too to even reach max level. Big turnoff right there. I'm playing the DLC through playthrough one. I'm never gonna get max level.
You're gonna be pissed at Borderlands 2 then.
Yeah, I know. Well,
You gotta play through it 4 times.
4?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I'm just trolling.
yeah, I mean,
And you
I knew
bit
you
it.
didn't play through it 4 times, but I think you're missing the focus of something like Borderlands. We'll hop on that right now. You never play online with anyone, do you? So you can't get bigger, better
Borderlands?
loot? Yeah. Oh my god, don't tell me.
Hmm.
Did you know there's online co-op play in
Yeah, I know
duels
there's
and arenas?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so There's a whole new experience just playing co-op and having fun and going through shit with people. That's what you're supposed to do. And this game is supposed to be
That-
fun where you can just try to figure out your own way through an RPG instead of having it be so linear that it just kills the game. My only complaint is there's no mini games because you're at the end of days and it wastes time.
Steven would waste all his time. The world would end, and he'd still be in the middle of a mini game.
Never beat Final Fantasy VIII. Why? Goddamn card game.
The moment you get cards, it's over.
Final Fantasy IX? God damn it. Lost it with a card game again.
And I can't tell you, the only difference between Final Fantasy VIII card game and Final Fantasy IX is 8 you could actually transmog into, well, I say transmog, transform, loot, like get loot out of those cards so you can get OP real early. That's the only reason to play it. 9, no point. Well, people are going to argue, well, you can only get this one weapon if you collect every card.
God, I miss side quests. Come on, come out with a new RPG with side quests already. Jesus.
Final Fantasy versus 13. 13 versus.
It's gotta happen. They haven't done it since 9. 10, 12. Well, I guess they did a bit of it with 12.
12, you had the whole boundary system.
Well,
A ton of side
but then you had the
quests.
crystals in 13.
Open world.
They're kind of slowly closing it off. And I mean, 12, I didn't play it enough. You know what happened? I got a PS3. It killed
That's
it.
the worst thing that happened for that game.
Mhm.
Because it's a very good game.
It's
with
the
an
only reason I
awesome
did
ending.
not finish it. The only reason I did not finish it.
Balthier's a pimp.
All right, we're not going to get anywhere else. There's articles, but as we mentioned last week, Seth has kind of a game he wants to play, and I'll let Seth take over from here.
Well, I was sitting here on AOL radio the other day, and I found out they have a video game station. And I realized I didn't know half the songs that came on. So I decided, well, I could even take songs that I kind of knew what they were. They were familiar, but I really couldn't point to what they were until I saw it. I figured I'd bring some of those to here and see who can guess better, Matt or Steven.
Matt,
How
I
it's
was
gonna
just
work
going to
is-
start doing it. God damn it.
Huh.
Nothing. You don't have the Skype call up. Explain, and then I'll explain what Matt just did. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, well, as I was saying, how the game's going to work is these guys are going to message me over Skype after I start playing the song. I'm going to stop the song at that point, and then one of these guys has to answer. If they answer it incorrectly, they get 0. If you answer correctly, you get 1. Kind of just a try through today. I want to try it with video game sounds. I think it'll be much funner. But with little preparation I could have, I figured we'd give it a shot. Now, before we actually stay on track with the game, let's veer off road and slam to a tree. Matt, what did you have to say?
No, he didn't have
I
to
didn't
say
say anything.
anything. He just sent a whole bunch of Bs, which is the way we're going to buzz in through Skype is typing B. He sent a whole bunch of them in early to try to interrupt you.
Well, didn't even notice it.
I should have done the buzz noise with it. Just going bzz, 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 bzz.
I'm going to try to find an online buzzer or something like that so we can do that. But at this point, we're going to buzz and Seth's going to call on us.
So I'm going to start kind of easy. You guys ready?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pokemon battle music.
Where is the music specifically played?
I'm supposed to know exactly where it's played.
Well, no. I mean, it's not battle music. That's why.
It's a, I think you just
God, I'll give it to you because Matt didn't even buzz in.
Well, because he already buzzed in, I figured there was no point. I knew it was Pokemon, but
You
I don't know
get-
where.
It's the opening theme. Like as soon as you turn on the game, that's what you hear.
Okay, well, I got the point then. I just stole it because Matt couldn't.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
this one's about 30 seconds in because this one really picks up. 1-0. Matt, you better pick it up.
we can hear you turning it up.
Steven!
Legend
What
of
are we-
Zelda theme.
This is the one that threw me. This is the one where I got the idea. Steven is narrowly by like a millisecond beats Matt to that one. Yes, Legend of Zelda theme. Matt,
Yeah.
you gotta work on your what is it? Taps per
Reaction?
second.
My reaction.
What's your keys per second? Is that what it's called? When you just actions per second. That's right.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what
I can
screwed
figure
Matt
it
over? is that before we started this podcast, we did one example, and he beat me to it.
I like beat you by like a long shot too. First in my load.
Okay, get ready.
Yeah, buddy, it's Mario.
He got it.
Seth, you're supposed to call on us. Damn it. But you wouldn't know this because he has 2 B's in a row. All right, Seth, you actually make this easy, Seth. You
I'm
send a
wondering if
message
there's a way
in
to
Skype.
refresh. No, you want what I'm gonna do? I was just gonna wait a minute, but yeah,
There. The first name to
Mario. All right, 2-1. I only got a few more left. I could always pull out some more.
We'll just do this for now.
I do have a list.
Oh, God damn it.
This is why I love the game.
I have no idea what this is.
Oh yes, you do. Not this version. Do you guys want an alternate version,
Do you have it ready?
Steven?
Kingdom Hearts theme song.
Yes.
Wow.
Seth, replay the simple thing part.
Yeah, I gotta find it. Hold on.
Walk away, you don't hear me say, please.
Now replay the other one.
I closed the other one. No, I got it. Hold
I'm at
on. I got it.
Simple and clean.
The simple clean part's coming up. Simple and clean. The way that you
All right,
make.
yes, I won. Let's see if I dominate 4-1 with this last one.
Oh, this one. This is the one. Actually, you want this one should be worth 3 points because
Yeah,
either of
buddy.
you guys are gonna get it. 9 seconds, so I'll play the full thing. Steven.
Dr. Mario.
Wrong!
Oh, I thought that's what it was. Oh, it's Dr.
This-
Mario's
The only reason I got this one is because it was on one of the, I looked up just video game music, and it's almost on every single list. Matt, I'm going to play all 9 seconds. If you get it, you win.
Oh boy, pressure's on.
All right, he's got a 10-second timer to get it. 10,
Oh my god.
9,
Don't count.
8,
Out loud.
7,
'Cause You're
6.
messing with him. No, stop
5.
counting. Because now he gets 10 more seconds. And you can't count out loud.
Matt, are you going to get it?
Probably not.
All right, then I win. Seth?
Excite Bike.
Oh,
No, I wouldn't have got it.
I knew it was NES, but
I do have one more queued up, but only Steven would get this one.
do it really quick.
Well, that's not fair.
Well, I already won, so that's fine.
No?
Nah, I can't get it right now. It sounds so familiar, but that's it.
I know. When you were a hipster kid, you really liked this game over all the other games because the other games were too popular. It's a series.
I got nothing.
Name of it's called Rose of May. It is Beatrice's theme in Final Fantasy IX.
No, I liked Final Fantasy IX because I liked the medieval thing. I hated the whole garden thought. It wasn't a hipster kid thing. I'll argue to the death to that one because it felt more like a classic
Nine
Final Fantasy game.
Worse than 8.
No,
Jesus.
9 was not worse than
Anyways, I have a whole bunch more. I made a list while I was at work today, and there'll be more to come. Hopefully with sounds too. I got a ton of great sounds.
All right, well, that's basically it for this week. I just want to throw one quick extra thing in. I guess throughout this podcast, I realized that no one knows who the hell we are. No one knows anything we like. I mean, at the end of each week, we usually bring up movies or game. I mean, we bring up games at the beginning, but movies, TV shows, music that we like. And that's basically all we say. So I figured we could start saying our favorite XYZ each week, just to kind of get people to know us a little more. In case we ever do get listeners, they can listen back. And this week, my thought was that I was wondering what your guys' favorite music video is. I'll throw it to Seth first. Not what you think is the best music video, but what's your favorite music video?
I am going back to. I don't watch a lot of music videos, but it's an older one. It is one of the most expensive music videos ever made, and it's movie related. Puff Daddy, Come With Me
Come
with
with me?
Godzilla.
Oh.
It was a Godzilla theme one.
As do anyone.
It's a ton of destruction, New York City getting destroyed. It's great.
Little victory. What am I do
No.
now, huh?
It's a good song, not a great music video.
Alright, and why do you like it so much? Just because of the destruction?
Yeah, it's. I mean, for especially what it was, it's got a ton of CGI, and I do believe that we all got trolled. That was it. That New Year's where we got trolled, where they had the ball drop in Godzilla. I just like the whole atmosphere in that time. I don't know. I don't like a lot of music videos, but I think that one's really underrated.
Matt, what was your pick for your favorite music video?
My pick might come as a shocker to you guys, but I'm gonna tell you why I like it first. It's because for some reason I liked it so much as a kid. Actually, not. I just thought of it. Actually, I didn't think of this before. I think it's because is this person did like a tie-in with Alvin and the Chipmunks. I think in this. I don't know. I was gonna say no. It's Michael Jackson Thriller.
That's not a bad pick.
Gotta give respect to Thriller. I was a huge MJ fan when I was little.
Yeah, that's
and he was a fan of Little Boys too, I'm sure.
Jesus.
Would have been a fan of me.
And when I was looking up stuff, people were doing like the best music videos of all time, and that's always been listed. So I can't knock you for that when the production was good. But why do you like it so much? Just as a kid, do you still like it as much?
I actually haven't watched it in a very long time,
It's very
but yeah, that's I feel like it would be that if I watch it now, I'd feel like really that's kind of cheesy-ish, but I just remember watching it over and over and over again as a kid, and I believe it was because there was an Alvin and the Chipmunks tie-in somewhere where they were like commentating over the video, and I just for some reason found it amusing.
I got 2 questions.
One of them is going to be
One,
the same thing I'm going to ask.
Can you do the dance?
Can I do the dance? No, I cannot.
Our first YouTube video is me, Matthew Zawista, doing the Thriller dance. Seth, what else were you going to ask him?
The second one, have you ever seen the Korean jail?
Oh,
That
yeah.
they all got. Matt, Google like Korean jail Thriller.
I will
Alright.
after.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
my
just gonna
question
say-
was,
It involves. Well, I just want to finish. It involves 40 Chinese, or not Chinese. They look like it though. 40 Asian inmates all doing the Thriller dance. Many of them in wigs, in the middle of like a maximum security prison. It's great.
my question is, who did not get freaked the fuck out at the end of the music video when his eyes were glowing and that ha 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 at the end? It's still creepy. Still throws you off. I guess mine's in a different vein than your guys's, which is what I thought would be interesting. I actually saw this
Was
recently.
heterosexual?
Jesus.
I mean, for Matt's.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I got it. I got the whole thing. Everyone got it. It's just not funny. My pick is Foo Fighters, My Hero. I love the Foo Fighters, and my favorite thing about this music video is everyone likes Everlong because it's weird and they're shot in a unique style. But this is all one shot. It had the guy running into the building, rescuing people from a fire. They were hopping in between the floors. Every time he ran into the building, he was somewhere else, and so was the band. I just thought it was kind of cool, kind of unique, and it got you pumped up watching the music video. So that's kind of my reasoning.
Can I get at least like one honorable mention though?
Go for
Because
it.
it's gonna, the OK Go music video. I don't even know what song it's for.
Well, all of theirs.
The one with the treadmills.
I gotta go with the treadmills.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. They even did a cover of the Muppets theme that I can't hate. But
Alright.
yeah, you gotta give a shout out to them.
All right, well, that's basically it for this week. I said that already once because I say the same things over and over again. But just to throw it again to you guys one last time before we say peace out. Seth, what else have you been doing besides video games?
Started a new job, so haven't done much. I've been in the Christmas spirit for about 2 weeks now. I don't know why. because it's still 80 degrees outside. But I watched Muppets Christmas Carol. I watched a Charlie Brown Christmas. A lot of Christmas music too. No reason.
Matt?
Just been watching a lot of Big Brother. Gonna watch the episode tonight if I can remember to tune in while I play video games later. And Frank the Tank, my man.
I think he's going home. I just
No
got
way.
that feeling. I wish he wasn't. And Katie and I, as soon as we realized who won the power veto, I said, I think Joe's out of the house. I think Frank's taking himself off the block. I think he's going to win it. Joe's going to go up as the replacement. I think Frank's safe another week, but you never know what's going to happen. But I haven't really been doing anything new at all. That's kind of the uninteresting thing, but just between work and starting up school again, it's just been kind of busy to pick up anything new besides video games, which I'm doing.
Can I
with
plug?
this.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I keep thinking you're finishing your sentences. And you add
Yeah, that's why I interrupted you earlier too.
Can I plug one more thing?
Go for it.
Watching America's team kick ass tonight against the other team from New York.
Oh, I'm gonna
Get
love.
out of here.
I'm gonna
Get
love
out.
listening back. Seth's a Cowboys fan. Matt's a Giants fan. I unfortunately am a Jets fan. So there's
The
a
other
rivalry
team from
between
New
the
York
two
is
of you.
playing the Dallas Cowboys tonight. If you want to tune into a massacre, watch it.
Well, this
Turn
is
into-
probably isn't gonna be up till Friday, so they already know what
I know.
happened.
Tune into the Giants kicking the Cowboys' ass.
Oh, that was sick.
Seth. I tried DVRing The Biggest Loser earlier, but all it kept doing was record all the Cowboys games.
I haven't heard that one before.
You didn't say that one earlier when you first connected on Skype. All right, time to get our own plugs in.
Who'd you steal that from?
Nobody, I made it up.
Liar.
All right, now
JK.
can I finally finish?
JK saw it on Facebook.
Okay. Plugging ourselves, email us at knownothingpc@gmail.com. I've spelled it out. It's not N-O, it's K-N-O-W. Same thing for Facebook. Facebook.com/knownothingpc. Twitter.com/knownothingpc. And an interesting side note, we are on Stitcher Radio. If you're on an Android device, like Matthew, and I believe Apple also has it. I almost said, like, when you hold your tongue and say Apple, and it sounds like asshole. But Apple has Stitcher Radio app too. That's where I recommend you listening to us. I love the Stitcher Radio app. It's just better than the iTunes subscription, basically. You can find a bunch of other stations on there. We're going to try to link ourselves to stations, try to promote some other way, but get the Stitcher Radio app, listen to us on Stitcher.com, go in the upper right corner, click listen, then search for us. But besides that, also subscribe on iTunes, review us, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, all that other stuff. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week.
I just want
Peace.
to clear up one more thing.
Oh, fine.
It's not N-O, it's K-N-O-W. You people are retarded.
I know, none of you have emailed in yet because you keep doing know nothing and know nothing.
Yeah, it's K-N-O-W. Get it right this week, and we hope to hear from you.
All right, now that the train has run over my exit, peace out.
I know the truth. How can you say